Rust has a lot of vehicles. Some you'll love, some you'll hate, and some you'll probably never even use. Each vehicle is unique and can be insanely helpful in your gameplay if you actually know how to use it. So in this video, I'm breaking down one specific tip for every vehicle in Rust, including cars, boats, submarines, trains, copters, and more. These tips will actually make a difference in your game. We'll start with sky vehicles such as copters, hot air balloons, and parachutes. Move on to water vehicles like boats, submarines, kayaks, and even boogie boards. Then the land vehicles, including cars, trains, bikes, and snowmobiles. And finally, move on to other vehicles like horses, magnet cranes, and even battering rams. I guarantee that this video will definitely teach you something new. In fact, I'm so confident, I want to challenge you. Hit that like button below, and if I can't surprise you at least twice, then you can take your like back. With that said, let's move on to air vehicles. First, we have the most difficult, largest, and most hated form of air vehicle, the hot air balloon. The biggest advantage of this vehicle is that the homing missile launcher cannot target it. The hot air balloon spawns randomly anywhere on the map. To use this flying shit, you need to throw some fuel into the fuel tank and press the red button. It will take 4 fuel to take off, and another 5 every 30 seconds or so. As soon as you reach a decent height, you will need to use the flags around the hot air balloon to go in the direction you want. Once this flag is pointed in the right direction, just toggle the button on and off to keep that height and stay in that wind channel. Also, there is a small storage space in the corner that you can use to store some of your loot. Next, we have a minicopter. This is the most common and affordable type of air vehicle. You can get it by paying 750 scrap at the bandit camp or by stealing it from your neighbor. Minicopter uses 30 low-grade fuel per minute and can be shot down by SAM turrets. However, you can avoid this by using flares. To fly a minicopter, I highly recommend practicing on a special server first. For example, you can use koala copters or any other server that has helicopters. The first and most important rule is to avoid jerky mouse movements. Use small, controlled motions for better control. Hold W without touching the mouse to go straight up, and hold S to go down. If you want to move forward, hold W and gently push the mouse up to pitch down the copter. To slow down or move backward, gently drag the mouse down to tilt the copter in the opposite direction. Use A button and D button to turn left or right. Also, use the mouse to help you control the copter in the air by turning it left or right. To land safely, hold down the S key and use the mouse to keep the copter from flipping over. When you're on land, hold Ctrl and use W, A, S, D buttons to drive it on the ground. This is the most convenient way to park your copter in the garage. In general, you'll have to spend some time practicing to be able to fly, but this skill is definitely worth it. By the way, if you leave your copter on the outside, it will slowly decay and disappear after 8 hours. However, if you build a garage and drive it inside, it will decay much more slowly and disappear after 48 hours. Next, we have an attack helicopter. You can buy it in the bandit camp for 2250 scrap. It has a turret on the bottom that can be loaded with any gun, even an Yoka, and is controlled by a passenger. Also, there is a missile launcher that can be loaded with high velocity or flame rockets. The missiles can be fired by both the pilot and the passenger. But for the passenger, there's a screen showing where the missile will hit. It is controlled in exactly the same way as a minicopter, but it absolutely dominates all other air vehicles, just because you can knock them down. And if you think that this vehicle is too OP, you're right, but it can be easily shot down. All you need is only 65 incendiary shots from an AK or any other weapon to destroy the attack heli. Also, keep in mind that you won't be able to drive it into a normal garage. You'll have to use a gate and add another floor on top to fit this copter inside. Next, we have a scrap transport helicopter. This big boy is an improved version of the minicopter. It offers 2 seats and an empty rear for large groups or clans to stand on. It has bulletproof plates covering both sides and has more HP compared to the other copters. It is much more difficult to control than a minicopter because it is much heavier, larger and slower, so you will need some time to get used to it. Also, if the scrap heli crashed on land, you can mine the body parts similar to the patrol helicopter. And finally, we have a parachute. I know it's not a vehicle, but it functions as an unpowered device, allowing you to move through the air. To use it, move the parachute to the backpack slot in your inventory and press the spacebar while you're in the air to open it. Also, keep in mind that you must be at least 15 meters above the ground to deploy the parachute, so the higher you open it, the better for you. Now, let's move on to water vehicles. Let's begin with the cheapest and simplest water vehicle, the Boogie Board. This is the only item in the game that gives you a third-person view. A Boogie Board is faster than diving fins, it doesn't destroy your hunger, and it will keep you afloat without drowning you, even when you're AFK. Plus, it keeps you dry. To get this item, you need to buy a Sunburn DLC, which you can find on the Rust page on Steam or in the Rust store. Another pay-to-win item from this DLC is an inner tube. It is much slower than a Boogie Board. Also, you can use it only when you are deep in the ocean, because if you put it on the beach, you won't be able to sail deeper because of the waves. Plus, it's much easier to hit you while you're using it, because you're sitting up instead of lying down. So, in my opinion, this item is useless. Next, we have a kayak. You can either craft it yourself, buy the blueprint in the fishing village, or take a mission from the fisherman NPC to get a kayak, paddle and scrub. Every time you pick up the kayak with a hammer, its health will be reduced by 50 HP. To swim straight ahead, take a paddle in your hands, hold down the left mouse button and wait until you have paddled twice. Then hold down the right mouse button and repeat this over and over again. To turn left or right, you need to press and hold the left or right mouse button. Also, if you have a teammate, you will swim twice as fast, so keep that in mind. Next, we have a diver propulsion vehicle. Using this device, you can get to the RHIB, underwater labs, or even a cargo ship completely undetected because it's extremely quiet. However, you need a diving tank to breathe underwater. This water scooter is slower than the cargo ship, so you'll have to catch the right timing to get close to it. To dive underwater, hold down Ctrl, and to come to the surface, hold down Shift. If you need something faster and more serious, then a small boat is perfect for you. You can find it randomly on the beach or buy it in the fishing village for 125 scrap. It has a small stash in the front for extra storage and can fit 3 passengers and 1 driver. To drive it, just open the fuel tank at the back, throw some fuel inside it and use WASD buttons to control it. You can make it almost completely silent just by tapping W instead of holding this button. Also, it can be easily destroyed by a diver using any bladed weapons, a mace or a jackhammer, so keep that in mind before going to the RHIB. Next, we have the RHIB, or a large boat. It is much faster than a regular boat. It has a larger storage box, more passenger seats, and bulletproof glass for the driver's seat, and it also consumes more fuel than the small boat. You can't find it on the beach. Instead, you can buy it in the fishing village, or find it as an escape vehicle on the cargo ship. If you need something even bigger, you can use the Tugboat. Unlike other boats, the Tugboat allows you to place different items inside it, like bags, boxes, furnaces, lockers and other stuff. To do this, you need to authorize at the steering wheel, and you'll be able to cover this room with doors and place items inside the cabin. Keep in mind that only 4 tugboats will spawn on the server, 2 at each harbor, and you can't buy them at the fishing village. To drive this boat, go to the steering wheel, hold down the E button, open the fuel tank, throw some fuel inside it and use WASD buttons to control it. Also, you can make an airlock at the back door using a locker and a workbench. Plus, you can cover all these windows with wooden signs or rugs, so nobody can see what's inside. Next, we have 2 vehicles for underwater travel, solo and duo submarines. The solo submarine is a 1-seat vehicle used to navigate the deep ocean. You can use it to access the underwater labs or oil rigs through the moon pool. And you can also use it to raid water bases and sink other boats and ships using torpedoes. It's best to buy a torpedo in the fishing village and then research it. That way you will save a lot of scrap. To load torpedoes, press E while looking forward and press the left mouse button to shoot. To load fuel, press E while looking at the tank behind you. The Duo Submarine is a 2-seated vehicle. It is an upgraded version of the solo submarine, with an extra seat for your teammate and an extra 200 HP. To drive these submarines, hold the Ctrl key to go down and the Shift key to go up. Use the WASD buttons to control them and press the left mouse button to shoot the torpedoes. Now, let's move from water to land. And the first and simplest land vehicles are the 1-seat and 2-seat bicycles. You can find them next to the Tier 1 monuments such as supermarkets, gas stations or warehouses. It's best to use them on the road, because you'll burn less stamina and move much faster. By the way, to drive faster, just press and hold the shift key. You can also use this vehicle to fall from any height without taking much damage. Next, we have a motorbike and a motorbike with a sidecar. You can find these vehicles in Tier 2 monuments like water treatment and airfield, and sometimes in Tier 1 monuments like junkyards or supermarkets. To use the motorbike, you will need fuel. In my opinion, this is one of the most dangerous types of vehicles in the game, because if you make one mistake, you will lose all your loot. Another type of sit-on vehicle is a snowmobile. You can find it in the hangar at the Arctic base. But first, you'll have to clear all the NPCs here and open the hangar with the blue keycard. For some reason, snowmobiles move as fast on sand as they do on snow, so you can easily use them in the desert. Next, we have modular cars with small, medium and large chassis. The bigger the chassis, the more modules you can install on your car. At the moment, there are 13 different models in total, including engines, cockpits, passenger modules, flatbed modules, storage modules, fuel tanks and camper modules. To drive the car, you need the engine parts, and there are 3 tiers of quality: high, medium and low. At least one of each of the 5 parts is required for the engine to work. The quality of part doesn't matter for getting the engine running, but they do have an impact on the overall speed and fuel efficiency of the vehicle. You can find the low quality parts in the junk piles anywhere on the map. But to get medium and high quality parts, you will need to craft an engineering workbench and research these parts by spending some scrap. There are about 60 vehicles per default size map, and they can spawn in random places. Each vehicle is found with a semi-random selection of modules, and will need repairs, fuel and engine parts to become drivable. To fix the car, you will need some high quality metal, metal fragments and wood. Just hit it a few times with a hammer and you're good to go. At the moment, anyone can steal your car, so you need to lock it. The easiest way to do this is to go to the junkyard, drive your car onto the lift and spend some metal to make a code lock. You can also change, remove or fix modules on your vehicle while it stands on this lift. If you want to do it safely, build your own garage and place a personal elevator inside to modify your vehicle. Also, keep in mind that each module has its own unique feature. For example, you can use a camper module like a mobile home with 4 beds, some storage space and a locker. Or you can use a fuel tank module to transfer water to your farm base. Or you can use a storage module to safely recycle a lot of components in the safe zone, and so on. If you want a full guide on cars, write about it in the comments below, and I will definitely make a video on this topic. Next, we have trains. Unlike cars, trains can only travel on above ground or underground rails. There are only 4 types of trains that you can travel on. To use the train, just throw some fuel into the fuel tank, sit down in the seat and press W several times to select the maximum speed. If you need to go back, press the S button several times. By the way, the train moves at the same speed in both directions. All trains except the Locomotive consume 4 fuel per minute, while the Locomotive consumes 6 because it has more HP and is faster. Next, we have a magnet crane. You can find this vehicle only at the Junkyard Monument. To drive it, use the WASD buttons. Hold Shift to move the cart itself and press R to activate the magnet. You can only pick up white cars that are inside the junkyard, and you will get 50 scrap for each. Also, you can use this crane to hide from other players if someone is chasing you. Next, we have horses. You can find them in random locations on the map or buy them at the ranch. White and black horses are the fastest in the game, so be sure to buy them. To make the horse run even faster, you need to move along the roads. Also, make sure to use horseshoes. That way, the horse will run even faster. In general, this is one of the most affordable, simple and safe ways to move around the map. And finally, we have a Battering Ram. It's not exactly a vehicle, but more like a weapon that you can drive. To use it, first craft the Battering Ram and place it as close to your enemy base as possible. Next, take a hammer and build the ram itself by spending some wood and metal. Throw some fuel into the fuel tank, sit inside the cabin and drive to any wall. Press this button on the left and repeat this over and over again. You need to make 1 hit to break a wooden door, 4 hits to break a metal door, 8 hits for a garage door, 3 hits for a wooden wall, and 10 hits for a stone wall. You can deal a maximum of 9 hits before you have to repair the vehicle. And to repair it, you will need a lot of high wall. But anyway, this is a great way to raid your enemy base, especially if you find this ram in a crate. Write in the comments below what other tricks you know for these vehicles. I'm really interested in hearing something new. And if you want to learn even more about Rust, then… Rust is a game where even the smallest mistake can cost you all your loot. For example, you didn't know about this pay-to-win item and lost your base without a fight.